America as a failed social experiment.
How do we tell this story in a way that builds the kind of emotional momentum that colorblind ideology built?
So many young brothers and sisters of the younger generation find themselves so far removed from the best of their past.
What are we going to make out of the nothing we've been given? How do you envision possibility? Hey everyone, welcome and thanks for joining us on the Tightrope, where we spend as much time as we can hanging on to the rope while we discuss very complicated, difficult issues, and sometimes take incredible artistry and bring it to you uncut. Today we have a very special guest. He's so special, we're going to have Dr. Cornel West do a special introduction.
My dear sister Tricia, it's always a blessing to be in dialogue with you, but this is a special day, what Smokey Robinson would call a special occasion, because we have an exemplar of the greatest modern tradition in the world, which is Black music, wrestling with suffering and transfiguring and transforming it in such a way that the sonic effects on soul, soul to soul, mediated with genius, mediated with talent, mediated with discipline, mediated with vision. And I'm talking about Bootsy Collins, who is not just one of the great funk masters. He is part of artistic nobility. He is part of our spiritual royalty, not just as Black people, not just as Americans, not just as modern peoples, but as human beings who could take whatever is coming at us and still dish out love, dish out compassion, but dish it out in such a way that it's mediated with the genius of his mastery of the instruments and bouncing his voice off of other voices. It could be Bernie, it could be George, it could be Jerry, so many of the various folk. It could be the genius himself, James Brown. Bootsy Collins from the chocolate side of Cincinnati, Ohio, with his brother Catfish, with Felipe Wynn, who sang lead for the Spinners around the corner, and then the Isley brothers also in the same Cincinnati. When you see Bootsy, when you hear Bootsy, you hear gentleness, you hear sweetness, you hear the funk. Funk at the deepest level and all of the dimensions and depths and breadths of it. That's who we have on today. Brother Bootsy, I could go on. Knowing you was one of the highlights of my life. Working with you in the basement, on the albums, one of the joys of my life. Being with Bishop Staples of the Temple of Praise with our dear sister Patty was there. One of the great joys. And when you showed up in my retirement at Princeton, ooh, Lord, and Eddie Gardner surprised me and brought in George Clinton, yourself and the others. That was one of the great moments of my life, man. I'm telling you. So I want to first just welcome you here.
Oh, man. It's such an honor to be here in your presence, man. I mean, you bring, for me, you bring so much joy every time I see you. And even when I'm not seeing you, you know, like physically, when I think of you, it's just what you bring to the table. You never come asking for something to eat. You always bring a meal. You always bring the meal. And it's like, to have that kind of wisdom and understanding about your purpose and why you're here. You're not here to take nothing. You're here to give it. And for you to walk around and just do that naturally is just, it just brings everything for me to life and to light and the way we should be to each other. We should bring the meal, not come out with our hands out. We should bring it.
That's
you know,
beautiful.
Remember back in the day we said, well, when we was recording the album, I said, when love becomes a threat. When a love becomes a threat, we in trouble, because that's all we got to give. Is love. All we got. And when that becomes a threat, and like times are now, love is definitely a threat. But I'm happy about it, because sometimes it takes that. It takes that for people to, just like this this thing that's going on now with the disease and all kind of mess that's going on. It's like sometimes it takes that for us to all see at the same time, like the struggle we've been going through, but everybody sees and feels it now. And it's a whole different ball game. It's a whole, when everybody sees it and feels it, it becomes real. Now it's real. And you either have to bring the food to the table or you continue to do what you've been doing. But the time now, it says reset. You got to reset. You know,
got to reset.
You got to reset. So that's where I'm at now with my life. And like I said, every time I see you, it brings joy because I know you got something in your hand to bring to the table. Definitely. And the same vice versa. And that's the way it's supposed to be. You know, I mean, we look upon each other to bring something. You know, you got to bring it. You got to bring some funk to get some. Right?
Funk is a two-way street.
It's a two-way street. You know, you can't come in there talking about give up the funk and you ain't giving up none.
And you ain't giving up none.
Yeah, you ain't giving up.
That's true. So tell me, Bootsy, before we get too far away from this, tell me about why love is a threat right now. Tell me about that.
Well, it's like when Martin Luther King, when he came on the scene with this nonviolence and, you know, show love and, you know, the non-fighting, none of that kind of thing. It's all about just the love, you know. When that becomes a threat, that's when we're in trouble because people will go against love as we all are set up to go against it. You know, we're set up to go against our brothers and sisters. You know, we've been taught that's in the program. You know, it's all in the program. And love is the only thing that can break us out of that. Love for ourselves, first of all. We got to learn how to love ourselves, you know, and then we love each other. But we never got a chance to really love on ourselves and love each other. You know, we too busy following the trend, following the way the system is set up. I see. And love really to the system ain't got nothing to do with it because it's all about the business. Right. You know, and the business is evil.
So right.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Now, I remember when we was in Cincinnati at the concert with Erykah Badu.
Yes.
And we were standing there together, and you told me, you say, you know, brother, so you feel that beat of the universe being unleashed with the music that opens all of us to be invincible and vulnerable so that we have a possibility of intimacy that is the deepest form of empowerment, but always taking a risk. How is it though, brother, that you have been able to stay on the one for so long in your life on that beat of life, man?
Well, you know, it's like when you grow up in it, like we have grown up in it, I mean, you don't, to me, you don't never lose that unless you want to lose it. It's like growing up, but still being a kid. You know, I love the part of me that still loves to be a kid, you know, and once you get past being a kid, then I think you done lost what love is all about, you know, because being a kid, you love everything, you love everybody, you know, but you're being taught to not love everybody. And as you grow, you know, that's where it all starts. You start to growing and you want to be grown and you want to be this and you want to be that, but you're taking for granted that being the kid is where you really want to be. That's where I always want to be. I don't never want to lose that kid inside of me because when I lose him, I've lost myself, you know, and that goes to what you were just saying. You know, if you don't have the kid inside of you, the guy that the guy or the girl who you've always been wanting to get rid of because you want to be grown. Once you throw him out the water or out the window, him or her, once you throw him out the window, it's over. It's over. You know, you got to always be reaching to be grown, a groaner, the grownest. You got to always be reaching, but never saying to yourself, I'm grown. I'm not grown. I don't never want to grow up. I want to be this kid so I can continue to funk on the one, you know?
On the one.
On the one, because you learn that as you're growing up, and I just happen to hold on to that, you know, because it's like music is one thing, but then life is another thing, but they both one and the same. They both are one, you know? And so I just combined them, embrace both of them, music and life.
And so you got being childlike versus childish. Childish, egoistic, narcissistic, and so forth. Childlike, wonder, openness, sympathy, empathy flowing. And that childlikeness goes hand in hand with becoming mature, because you will learn some things through your experience. But you still have that openness. Because see, I think one of the things about funk, and one of the great gifts that we Black people have brought to the world in terms of the depths of funk, because every people's are wrestling with sorrow and sadness and tragedy and catastrophe. But I think one of the things we've been able to do is to acknowledge that in the world in which we find ourselves, which is white supremacist America, they want to deodorize everything. They want to sanitize and sterilize everything, keep it on the surface. We say, no, we want to do some deep sea diving. And by going all the way deep into the funk, we're going to get all the tears, the blood, the sorrow, the sadness, the pleasure, and the joys there. And then give it. Because I love how you started this on kenosis. How do we empty ourselves, give ourselves, donate ourselves? I mean, Sister Tricia, you know, this distinguished professor at Brown, she's known for being of deep service. So her brilliant mind is also mediated with giving to the students. That's kenosis. With the kinesis, which is kinetic. You got to be moving quick.
And you know, too, Doc, as we grow, we begin to realize that, you know, it's kind of like a sin to give. Like, if I give you $20, then I have to pay for that. You know, it's like giving my mother or my brother a gift. You know, why do I have to pay for that? Because I want to give you something, and then I have to pay for it because I'm giving it to you. And that's the system. That's that tax thing. You know, why do I have to pay to give my mother a car? I mean, you know, it's like, it's a gift.
Because you want to express deep love and gratitude.
Right. You know, it's a different philosophy, you know, around exchange. Right. That is driving that. That's not part of the philosophy that you take with you, which is why you're giving. I mean, you give us so much in your music all the time that there's, you know, it's unreasonable to tax you for that giving. That giving should be free. I agree. That giving should be free. You know, I have a question about this idea of the funk. I got one of the greatest funk theorists and the greatest funk practitioner in the same Zoom world right here. So I have a question. I don't know which one of you brothers this question is for, but I want to know, what is the key to the funk? What's the key? Some songs are trying to be funky, but they don't have the funk. Other songs don't know nothing about the funk. And then of course there's your work and, you know, all the other amazing funk masters. What is the key to the funk?
Personally, myself, I think the key to funk for me now is deeper than just the music. The funk has to be in you. When you come in this world between a butt and a pee hole, you funky. You funky. I don't care who you are. You already funky. The whole thing is, do you accept being funky? Are you all right with being called funky? Are you all right with being called black? You know, are you all right with it? You know, I'm cool with it. You know, I'm gonna always be cool with being funky. But a lot of people just can't embrace the fact of being funky, you know. And as far as music, I think you kind of have to grow up in it to know what it really is. It's something you just can't learn. It's like Doc got all of this wisdom, you know, and I mean, he's learned so much stuff, but if he had not had the funk in him, he couldn't do it funky like he does it.
No.
You know, that's why
the funk predates the book learning.
Yes, you can't learn it.
Right.
You know, what he's done for me and for all of us is he's took his funk to a whole nother level of understanding, you know, and it kind of breaks it down where a child can understand it, or the grownest of the grown can understand. And that's what the funk is. You know, the funk is making something out of nothing. Okay? I mean, we've always taken something and made something out of it. You know, it's what we got. That's what funk is. What we got, we make something out of that.
Make something out of it.
And that's in every area of music, every area of life. If you look at it, it's all went down like that. You know, whatever we've done it with the funk, and we brought something to it to make it. It's just like when I was with James and I didn't have a bass to play. So I had to come up with something because I had to play with James Brown. Right. So I had to come up with something. I took my guitar, asked my brother for 4 bass strings. He got me 4 bass strings. Next thing you know, voila, I got a bass guitar playing with James Brown. James Brown didn't like my bass, which hurt me immensely. It was $29 job, but it was like, he said, I'm gonna get you a new bass, son. What kind of bass do you want? And I said, that was the biggest shock of my life. Like, James Brown is gonna get me a bass guitar of my choosing. I mean, who ever heard that?
Wow.
You know? So
that's because you made something out of nothing. And so he gave you something to replace that something out of nothing that you created.
Yes. And I couldn't fail. I had to continue making something out of nothing. I mean, once that funk kicks in, it's like you can't get rid of it. It's like magic shaving powder. You cannot get rid of that smell. I mean, that funk, and Doc, I don't care how much you wash, I don't care how much you clean, I mean, it's gonna always be there. It's the root of your story. It's the root of everything that we do, that we are. The funk is first. The funk is the one.
Is the one itself.
Funk is the one. You know, funk is the word. Funk is the word.
But see, I could see James, but James could see in you. You're 18 years old, March 1970. He can let his band go. He's bringing y'all in with the pace setters coming in. Because you born what? October 51. You just 18 years old. You ain't even 19 yet. And James would say, okay, now, how am I going to take off? Because he had already put a slice in human history in May of 1967 when he first recorded Cold Sweat. Put it out in July with Pee Wee Ella. Who had already been a jazzman, played with Sonny Rollins. Played
That's
with
right.
Ron Carter. Listen
Yep.
to So What? Dun-dun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Here come Cold Sweat. Dun-dun.
Yeah.
Dun-dun. So you got the bridge between the heights of jazz, because Sonny Rollins standing next to John Coltrane and the others, Coleman
right.
Hawkins and the others.
That's
Right.
right.
But here you got Pee Wee with this genius coming out of Barnwell, South Carolina,
Yes.
and Augusta, Georgia. He sees another genius coming out of Cincinnati who's young, who's putting this heavy discipline on you, but saying, okay,
Yeah.
this funk that I got in me, which is to
Yes.
say, you got to be unapologetic.
Yeah.
You got to be
Yeah.
unafraid,
Yeah. Yeah.
willing to be unarmed,
Yes.
dangerous context, and
Yes.
still have something
Yeah.
inside of you that allows you to endure and persevere with a smile on your face, with style in your presentation and in your music. And that's James.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
That's Bootsy. That's George. That's Betty Davis, the wife
Right.
of Miles Davis. Don't forget about Betty now.
That's right.
She's a funk master.
Yes, Lord.
You remember
Yes.
Betty.
Do I remember?
No, but
I mean-
all the funk masters you had a chance to be with, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's been such a blessing. And you ask why do I still? I mean, that right there is more reason. What you just said right there is more reason than anything to just be what the funk is. I'm not ashamed, not apologetic. This
That's
is
right.
what it is, you know, and I bring this to every table I go to, you know. I mean, nobody can stop you from bringing what you bring to that table every
To that
time you
table.
go,
Mhm.
you know. And that to me is the funk and its own, you know, and that's what we have to bring really nowadays, because you know we can't hide behind nothing else now. It's all about the funk. It's out there.
Everything is
It's
so
out,
raw.
It's so raw. It's so in
visceral
your face.
in that way.
Mhm.
It's so
You know, for
in
me,
your face.
one of the great moments though of modern music is when James is doing a live version of "Give It Up, Turn It Loose,"
Yeah, yeah.
and all of a sudden, about 2/3 into the song, he say, okay, "Come on, Clyde." And I remember when I went down in your basement, you got Stubberfield's drumsticks.
Yeah.
Oh, now you know the day
Come on,
he
Doc,
died,
you
I
don't
gave
remember
a
that?
tribute to him at Harvard Law School, and I asked people who was Clyde Stubberfield, and the white brother got up and said, he's the drummer who was most sampled of anybody on the internet. I said, you're right. He's a
Yeah.
genius. He was the king of the drummer
Yes.
song. Right.
Yes.
But he says,
Yeah.
come on, Clyde. And then he said, hit it, Bootsy. So Clyde and Bootsy coordinating, coagulating this thing would Give It Up, Turn It Loose.
Oh
And the
man.
funk, and even James responds like, oh, it's so much so, oh, it's feeling so good. Oh, he's just getting deeper and deeper. And
Yes.
we all become less afraid. We all
Yeah.
become more willing to engage the world. We all become more apologetic about whatever truths are inside of us, because everybody got their own distinctive voices and their distinctive truths. You can't be funky by imitating somebody else. You're going to start faking the funk.
You're
And
right.
remember Bobby
You're right.
Womack's cold song on your album?
Yeah.
Said,
Oh,
don't take my
God.
funk away. Don't take my funk away. Oh, don't take my funk.
Oh, my God.
Save it for a rainy day.
Yes.
Oh, that's Bobby Womack right there.
Oh, he was killing it, man. He was killing it. It's just, what I see now is it's more wide open now for people to accept who and what they really are. You know, it's like we know we funky. I mean, we know we funky. I mean, so you know, it's nothing to really accept because we have already embraced it. Coming up the way we came up, you have to embrace how you come up. We have already done that, you know, and we continue to do that. Now it's time for other people to reset and say, now I see. Now, this is what, this is a part of it. okay, that's why they made that funky music. That's why their music is so funky like that. It's something you come up in. You know, you don't just learn, you just don't learn this. Like I say, look at Doc. That mug is so funky. I mean, you know, and it ain't just because of music. It's like how he came up. You know? It's if he didn't come up that way, you would never know where that funk is. Where'd you get your funk from? You know, where did you get your funk from?
Where'd you get it from?
You know,
No,
and
that's
so
let me
real.
ask.
That's real.
Let me
That's
ask
real.
you a question. Let me
Yeah.
ask you a question that connects to something both of y'all are saying. You know, one is the drummer Clyde, who is the greatest sample drummer, much of which I'm sure is happening in hip hop.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you know, the fact that there's more freedom to come to terms with who we are in terms of our core funk and all our contradictions and all of our longings and desires. So there's both more openness, right? But there's also a little bit of extra risk about our funk, right? There's some danger attached to our funk. And that is, you know, what I've called in one place in terms of worrying about some of the ways that the stories in hip hop have gone is what I call the manipulation of the funk. One of the things I think about, what I love about the spirit of your funk on the musical side is that it is wedded and married and like intertwined and embedded with the stories you tell, with the words you speak, with the spirit of those words, right? So the funk is, you know, harmoniously attached to your words, right? But that's not true of everybody who borrows the funk as a tradition.
That's right.
So one of the things I've been concerned with is that, you know, we get moved by the funk and then we start listening to what is on top of the funk narratively. And I'm like, you know, I'm like, this is funky. And then I'm like, what the hell am I saying? Like, what am I repeating? This ain't Bootsy. It's somebody else. So
well,
do you worry about that in terms of your funk sort of, you know, telling somebody else's story, a non-funk based story, a dangerous story, a hurtful story about who we are?
Well, it's always going to be that danger. It was that same danger when we was doing it. They didn't want to, you know, I mean, I ain't gonna even call no names, but they didn't even want to have nothing to do with us until the records start selling and we start selling out concerts, you know. They didn't want to hear nothing about nothing, you know. It's like these cats they just crazy, you know. They just crazy, they nasty, you know. I mean, they gave us all those names, names out here in the day. They gave us all them, you know, because we were that of that day that it
that
is.
era.
So it was like they wasn't having it, you know. So it's gonna always be that kind of danger, but at the same time, it takes that to propel into the future, you know. So whatever, and you know, wherever it goes, we're gonna have to deal with that. We're gonna have to deal with that, and it's gonna be different. You know, it's always going to be different. It's always
changing
gonna be
all
changed.
the time. It's going to be
It's
changing all
always
the
be
time.
changed. You know, I think what has helped me the most is keeping an open mind and being able to be in the presence of the people so they know, you know, being able to be touched, you know, no security. I don't need none of that. You know, people either know me or they don't. It don't make no difference. It's about the vibe that you got. That funk vibe that you got. You got to trust it. It's just like God. It's God. You got to trust him. You know? And if you ain't trusting him, you know, you might as well stay indoors for real. Without a pandemic. You know?
That's right. That's right.
I mean, you know, so
you're gonna be running around scared all your life anyway.
Exactly.
You're gonna have to confront that fear in a very unflinching manner.
Yes.
You know, I mean, when I listen to somebody like Dorothy Love Coates or Rosetta Tharpe or Aretha in the church context,
Yes.
They
Yes.
already got
Yes.
the funk working.
Yes,
Not
Lord.
just because the blood at the bottom of the cross is funky
Yeah.
and the body
Yeah.
on the cross is funky, but because African peoples have also musically and sonically transformed all of the deodorized lies into
Ooh.
certain truths of self-confidence and self-respect.
Yes.
We might not have no
Yeah.
land or territory, might not have no rights or any kind of liberties, but we
Yeah.
were still
Yeah.
free enough in our language, in our music, to
Yeah.
pass it on to the younger generation where they can get some kind of self-confidence, self-respect, where
There
the
you
love
go.
can be found
There you
in
go.
that way,
There
you
you
see.
go. Yes.
I mean, part of the
Yes.
challenge nowadays really is what happens when, going back to Sister Tricia's point about when the funk is manipulated, so you end up with, you know, patriarchal domination or the trashing of other peoples as opposed to the
Yeah.
love that ought to be at the center of it. But also when people are just faking the funk and
Yes.
thinking somehow
Yeah.
they can be a semblance of it and putting down the real thing, because the real thing is embarrassing to them.
There you go.
It
There you go.
exposes them. And
Yeah.
we say on this show all the time, Curtis Mayfield, Sam Cooke, Sly
Yes.
Stone, never got a
Yes.
Grammy,
Yeah.
but Milli Vanilli got 2.
Oh, wow.
Hey,
Oh
hey,
my
what's
God.
happening? What does Sam Cooke mean
Wow.
to us? He got the funk in his
Wow.
own unique. What does Sly mean to us? What
Yes.
does,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
What does
Yes.
But you
Curtis
see
mean to
that,
us?
see that's
Oh, Lord.
the Grammys, you know, that's the beginning of the manipulation of the funk in the first place.
Exactly.
Ah,
Exactly.
You know,
But that's what we have had to deal with. And I guess our hope would be that the younger ones that's taking it on, that is still coming up like we came up.
mhm.
Our hope would be that they would kind of get kind of turned around through this reset time,
Yeah.
and that time will help change that, because man, I mean, I don't know no other. I mean, when you got, like we're on the last list of the leaders that we know about, that we came up under. I always call Dr. West the last of the Soul Brothers, and I always call because I always see him like this, he got it, I mean, and to me, that's like, who does that now? I mean, you got a lot of people doing it, but I'm talking about who really stands for
Right.
that now, who really stands for the funk now. This is the time you have to stand for something,
Yeah.
and we got something real. We got the funk, and we talking about the funk, and we are all about the funk, and we have embraced it completely, and that's scary.
Mhm.
That is
Yeah.
scary to people, Yeah. So,
But
they'll
it's also freeing, right?
Oh yes.
It's freeing.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
I remember.
Yes.
I mean, I always, I loved, your work and Clinton and Parliament.
Yeah.
But my favorite,
Yeah.
favorite, 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 favorite of all time is Flashlight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
And the bass line, I still don't
1978.
understand how you came up with that bass line.
Well, actually, Bernie was he was the mastermind on that. Bernie. Yeah.
So tell me the logic of that funk on that bass line. Just break. I mean, I feel like it's an entire novel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like the story it's telling an incredible story.
I think we found in that era, in that time, we found who we were. And really, before that, we were saying we don't care, what happens, because all we want to do is play this music, But when we got to Flashlight, we began to understand that, wow, this is, we really got something. We really wasn't thinking about, hit records or, trying to please people. We were just being funky. We
Right.
wanted to be as funky as we could be. I mean, anytime somebody said that's not allowed, that was telling us go on and be funky, and we wanted to get as funky as we possibly could. And during that time of Flashlight, we kind of figured out, dang, we done got funky. We commercially funky.
You didn't got it about as funky as
yeah.
you putting a smile on James Brown's face, and he's still doing his thing.
Yes, yeah. But see, the downside.
But tell us the story about. I mean, No, go right ahead. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. You gonna say the downside?
The downside of that is we start thinking that we have found something that we really already had. It's like it's like when you get to the point of, oh, we're there. Oh, we got something here. We were never supposed to get there, because that's what this world is all about. You're not supposed to get there. You always be struggling, trying to get there as a kid. You're trying to get there. You never want to get to the top of the mountain because you'll be alone.
Well, and also because there's no end to how funky you can get. So you just keep just getting funkier and funkier. You don't never reach the pinnacle of funk.
No walls behind the sky.
Right.
You just continue to reach and reach and reach and reach. But see, that's where that's where we failed. And we had to fail at that time because other changes was happening. Prince was coming in, Rick James, so it was a change, something that we couldn't do nothing about, and that's what a lot of us do now. We get into so much stuff that we can't do nothing about, but do something about yourself and give of yourself, put that funk out there. We wasn't planning on nothing. All we were doing was doing what the funk do. And we messed around and started thinking, we got to a point, by the time we got to knee deep, we really started thinking we knew what we was doing. And the funk don't know what it just does.
So you all became more kind of self-conscious.
It just does. Yeah.
I see.
We were more aware of
that's
what each one of us are good at. And before we was just funky. We was just, we was all, in a bed, a hotel room, jumping out the window when it's time to pay, and that's what the music was. The music represent what we were, and we liked it.
Wow.
We liked it, and then once we got to that Flashlight era, by that time, it was like, I know George started thinking he knew what he was doing. I started thinking I knew what I was doing. Bernie started thinking, oh, I done found something, I got this sound, so we all start thinking.
I see.
Oh,
that's interesting.
Yeah. And once that start happening, it's like, all of us start, we start dividing up, and that's when the one is missing. When we start thinking so hard that we lose the funk. We lost the funk,
Wow.
And it wasn't nobody.
But see, the funk is not about success.
Exactly.
It's about process.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not about success. It's about the process. The process has an integrity to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, see, you could have retired after Soul Power. That's my favorite. or Superbad 1 and 2. Well, you remember James Brown talks about Cold Train, play like train. Come on, Bootsy.
Right.
You got the brother on the saxophone blowing like train, and you got the bass going. You could have retired then, but that was process. That was process. You know what I mean?
You're right.
But you know what a lot of people don't really get into, which is I think wrong, is the soft side of the funk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your song in 1977, the Monkeys for Your Love. Your love is kind of sweet.
Yes.
Sweet enough to eat.
Right.
Yeah.
Only your chocolate stuff. I got the munchies for your love.
Yeah.
That is as funky, but it's smooth, man. It's like heaven must be like this of the Ohio players.
Yes. Well, Doc,
the funk doesn't get accented, man.
That's what we were going through as you growing up. Your teenage years, you coming up through there, and all of these thoughts. It's like how can you do that with the limitations of what you can say, and which I'm really glad about, because it made us come up with alternative words, that meant the same thing.
Right.
And
That's
so
right.
that goes to show you that no matter what kind of limiter you put on the funk, you can still come up with the funk uncut and still be, it's just new. It's just some new funk. The Munchies, I got the Munchies for Your Love. I mean, come on, man. I mean, you can say that on the radio,
It's more creative too. We don't, being literal is not that interesting. But
Exactly.
it's just not that interesting. So it's nice to have parameters to make us figure out how to say things more metaphorically.
And so
I like that.
It was kind of the time and era when we had to really rap to a lady, So we were coming up in the time where, we had to have some real rap,
That's right.
The brother had to rap.
That's exactly right.
There's been a real decline in that particular generation.
It ain't even about no rap. It's like, I said, let's hit it. It's on, But we had.
And you see, that's when those are the days when you had the purple light in the garage and you asked the sister to slow dance and stay in my corner by the mighty dance. Right, it was extra long, you know what I mean? a little longer than the moments, brother. You know what I mean?
But see, that was the good stuff. That was the good stuff, and all that piled in on the funk, and I think we were able to lift that funk up and let everybody see. And the brothers and sisters just grabbed it because it was them. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't just us. It was all of us.
Right.
You took it back to it. That's exactly right.
So how did y'all two meet, and how did y'all get to work on this album together that's out now, The Power of the One? Tell us, me, and everybody else out there, like how did this come together, this album?
Man, okay. Well, I'm gonna go back to the other album first, because that's when we really hooked up. We had been in passing and passing and saying, hey, but we really hooked up. I think it was 2011? I think it was 2011, was it?
That's right.
2011. And I was doing this album, The Funk Capital of the World, and I had been listening to Doc, and it's like, man, he is the only one that still demands you to listen without making you listen. His voice, his demeanor, his body language, everything I could relate to, because to me it was funk from where I come up with the brothers on the street, Black Power. Them mugs was right, I lived upstairs in the apartment. These mugs is right downstairs with a whole slew of mugs around them. And when I heard Doc rapping, I said to myself, boy, he would be powerful on a record. I didn't know that he had already been doing stuff. I didn't know that. I just thought, man, I need to see if I can get him on some of this funk, and because I knew that once people heard him on some funk, that, it'd be that same embrace thing, because he already got it. It ain't
Right.
something that you have to give it to. He already got it, you know. So it's like, okay, let me see if I can get in touch with this brother. Patty hooked up with Brother Ray. Next thing I know, it was like Doc West said he could come in, he could do it. I was like,
I will be
Nice.
in Cincinnati in a minute.
yes, man. And since we hooked up in the studio, we had such a blast.
We had such a good time.
Oh man!
But I learned so much from you, though, brother, because to get that close to genius capital G is a rare thing in life, man. It's a rare thing in life because there's a flow in your soul and there's a magnificent intellect that's always working, but you got a sense of the past. So that just being there with you, J-Bo, Stubblefield, Clyde,
that's
ATO,
right.
Pee-wee,
right.
Fred, Wesley, all of that's inside of you, let alone George and Bernie and the others, you see.
Yes.
And then when we went to BB King's on 44th Street, woo! Did we go down that night?
Oh man, that was killer. That was so.
It was
see,
like
that is what the funk, you know, that's what it does, and that's what I look forward to, you know. And it was like when I started working on this record, it was like Chufu out of New York. He had sent me a couple of tracks, and he was asking me, is there any way we can get Doc West, you know, maybe on one of these tracks? Because he had heard, you know, our connection.
Oh, right.
And I was like, yeah, well, we'll give it a shot, you know. Then when he sent me the track, I was like, man, you know, we need to try to get a little more funkier, you know, with the song to put Doc on it, you know. And
wait, you trying to say wait, hold on. You trying to say your tracks were not funky enough already? You need a little more funk for Doc?
Well,
is that what I'm hearing? Are you breaking the funk bank up in here?
Well, it's like once you work with a person, you kind of feel the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean that's the way the funk works. You just either feel a person or you don't. And it's like the timing was so correct. I couldn't say no, I'm not going to even try to reach Doc. You know, the timing was so correct. You know, it was so on script. It was like I gotta find Doc. You know, even if he can't do this song, I knew he was out there with brother Sanders, but I had to try it anyway. And we tried to get in touch with him. Next thing I know, it was like, dang, Doc got right back. I was like, oh man, we gotta hook it up.
And see, I didn't have no iPad then. I only had my little phone. And so I just did it on the phone right there. I did it on the phone right there on the spot. So
the phone.
Now that's funk right there.
The phone can't stop the funk. This can't stop.
That's true.
Phone cannot stop the funk.
I mean, funk is making something out of nothing.
Oh yeah.
Out of nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't no studio.
Wasn't no studio, nothing.
He took what he had and made something out of it.
Just worked, stepping out on nothing and landing on something.
That's what the funk is.
But I tell y'all, you got a line in there, brother, that is so cold and connected to the tradition in such a magnificent way. When you said stars have no names, they shine now.
Yes.
They shine. Remember, Slide said everybody is a star.
Everybody is a star. Yes.
But then Sunday school, Vacation Bible School, and Shiloh Baptist Church say, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. You're right. Yes, Lord.
Wow.
Yes, Lord. So we don't need no superficial culture of spectacle and consumption and image. We want folk who shine. You shall know them by their fruits. What kind of love, what kind of joy are they producing in others? That's what the shine is.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean? You remember, it's like James Brown. I used to go see him at the Apollo all the time. And he always say, you go at it for 3 hours, nonstop, Bobby Bird, all y'all, man.
Yeah.
I'm an extension of you, audience. You're an extension of me.
Yes.
That I don't exist without you.
Yeah.
Did anybody come here to hear a song we didn't play? You didn't play Soul Power. Hit it, Bootsy, right on the top. We come to serve the people. We come to shine. Put everything inside of you out there on the stage to rock that stage so that the people feel empowered. That's you. That's James.
Yeah. Oh man.
Wow, that's heavy right there.
That is.
Oh,
I
no,
mean,
that's
because when you think about it, right? I mean, this stars don't have names, right? That's all anybody wants now is a name.
That's right.
Right?
Name and
They don't.
numbers.
It's not about the degree of the shine for themselves, for the world, for other people to enlighten and to enhance. It's really about what's my name, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly it. And Bootsy put in there. I said, "Oh," and I said, "Oh Lord."
Yeah, that's
because
stars don't have
what
no
the
names.
Dr.
They just
Tricia, what
shine.
Professor wrote me, Sister Tricia talk about all the time. You see, we don't want no brand. We want a cause.
Yes.
We want a cause to live and die for. We don't want a brand to superficially shine. We want to shine and to be in the life that we live, in the funk that we embody, in the smiles we produce, in the love that we generate.
Wow. And see, that's the whole funk. That is the whole funk, nothing but the funk. That's it, brother.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, that
Lord.
woo. So Bootsy, before we have to go now, I mean the time, I feel like I fell into a funk hole. I don't even know what time it is. I'm supposed to keep track of the doggone time. I literally don't know what time it is. Okay.
I told you time is time out.
Started off saying he was time out on time.
I'll tell you.
They looking like they did 25 years ago. I said time out on time.
I want to make sure we have some time for your to talk to Patty and also to talk about the Music Cares Challenge, right? Because this is important. We got to keep the funk alive. We got to keep the funk alive. So tell us a little bit about that.
Do we want Patty or do
both of you come on in. Let's do it.
Okay.
She was sitting over here looking at me out the side of her eye anyway.
Oh,
no, but this is the one and only Sister Patty herself.
Right. Bootsy Collins
stars
Music Care Challenge. Hey, Pat.
The same royalty. That's who she is. That's who she is.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, we're delighted to have you. Tell us.
Well, it's our challenge. It's called the Bootsy Collins Stars Music Cares Challenge.
Okay.
And what we're doing is we're raising money for music cares for musicians and the community of musicians, like the guys who are backstage, the roadies, the lighting guys. You know, right now through this COVID tragedy that we're going through, musicians, they can't even put food on their table. So we contacted Music Cares, the Grammy Foundation, and they said, we would love to work with you, Patty, and Bootsy and the whole team. So Bootsy developed Stars, and Emmy Sunshine is featured on Stars, a young girl from Nashville. You want to say something about Emmy?
Doc is he's on there too.
And of course.
You know,
yes.
And
our dear Doc, he is right there. Dr. Cornel West is opening the whole situation up for everybody to hear and see. So, you know, it's raising money currently. And when we have our show on October 23rd, by the way, we're actually going to have a show and it's going to promote the whole album.
Fantastic. October 23rd.
October 23rd. Everybody hear that? October 23rd.
Yes. And so we will actually be doing a giveaway there for Music Cares as well. So that's what it's about. GiveLyNow.com.
GiveLyNow.com /0/stars. Right?
Yes. And we'll make sure you get the link. I think I sent it over, but we'll send it over again to make sure we have it so that you know, you can help us with letting the word know that we are doing our best to help our musicians, our fellow musicians.
This is so important. Because, you know, we talked in the beginning about how much Bootsy and Cornel are givers. But, you know, there's a whole range of people who are behind the scenes who are really sacrificing and giving to bring all this amazing music. If they don't do their jobs well, y'all don't sound right.
That's
you know?
right.
That's right.
And they're unsung heroes of keeping the tradition alive. And
Yes.
you know, so this is they're always too close to being hungry, frankly. But now it's really a crisis. So I really want to encourage everyone to give, you know, as much as they can to support the music and the people who bring it, because without that, I mean, the light is barely on right now in this world. So without the musicians, you know, it would be too dark. We, you know, even the stars might stop shining a little bit. So
let me break it down. Let me break it down to childlike by using a keyboard. You got the keyboards with the white keys. You got the keyboard with the black keys. So black keys matter. Black notes matter. All notes matter.
That's right.
We all matter. But we, as the black keys, just ain't got, you know, we didn't get no help. We didn't get no vibe. It's like we bringing the vibe. We bringing the vibe, you know, but we get nothing in return. So, but that don't stop us from keep bringing it. We're gonna still keep bringing it, whether you come on board with us or not.
Come on.
That's
We're gonna still be the black keys.
That's
you
right.
know? And black keys matter. That's what I want to leave with.
Ooh, I love it. I love it.
Now, we are the black notes.
I heard you tell me whether this is right. That our genius from Chicago, Curtis Mayfield, he used to tune his guitar to the black key.
There you go. You're right. You're absolutely right.
But he learned it from his grandmama, who was a televangelist.
Really?
Whoa. Whoa. Doc. Wow. Whoa, man.
That's the genius of Curtis Mayfield.
Yes. Yes.
So his guitar was in a special key because it was
special key.
tuned on the black key.
Amazing.
And you can't play it on beautiful music without the black and the white keys together.
That's right. That's right. So that's what we have to look at to make it very simple for everybody.
Yeah.
It's very simple. We all have to work together.
I
mean, you know, we can have so much fun. We can get so much stuff done.
Yes, we
Doc,
can.
you know what it's like to come to those old funky concerts, man. How much fun we had.
Lying.
Come on.
Man, I feel like I'm on the mothership when I'm walking on the floor. Because I'm already levitating and I'm starting to elevate, and the next thing you know, I'm celebrating.
Man. Well, y'all turn this into a beautiful party. This is
Have mercy. No, there's only one.
We got
Bootsy Collins, only one in the world.
Only one.
Oh man. Well, Doc,
only one on the one.
Only one. That's right.
The album, The Power of the One.
Power of the One.
That's going to be released. Power of the One, and that's been exactly what we've been talking about.
That's exactly right.
And we're getting ready to share that with the world.
Ooh,
and Doc's all over it.
Now, does that drop October 23rd?
What is it?
October 23rd.
October 23rd.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Okay.
3 days before my birthday, and Doc, you know we got to hook up.
Oh Lord,
that's a beautiful thing.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it right on my calendar.
October 26th, be 69 years young.
Yeah.
That child like in you, brother. He can funk in you. That funk is in you.
Gotta keep funking, baby. Got to
keep
that funk will keep you young all by itself. It looks like.
Don't fail me now.
You know it.
Excellent. Well, it's been a joy to have you, Bootsy. It's been an honor to meet you, and Patty, it's been great to meet you too. Yes, indeed.
Man, this has been so great.
Thank
you so much.
Giving y'all a hug.
Oh, anytime.
Oh, we got to do it. We got to do it. We got to do it. Definitely.
Thank you, Miss Tricia. You were awesome, Miss Rose.
No, y'all. I mean, I feel like I'm just surfing along in all the love, joy, and tradition. It's a beautiful thing. It's really.
We all.
We're just an example for what the world can be.
I know.
So, so we just got to keep funking. We got to keep funking.
That's exactly right.
I'm definitely going to put that. I'm going to put that on my screensaver, because sometimes you wake up and you feel funky in the wrong way. But if you keep it right, you keep yourself on the right side of the funk. It's
the best. It's the best feeling in the world. It's the
That's right.
best
Nothing,
feeling
nothing
in
like
the
it.
world.
Nothing like it.
Mm-mm.
You know it, Doc. Thank you so much.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you so
All right.
much. It's
God
been
bless
an
you,
honor.
Trish.
All
Love
right.
you,
All
love
right.
you, love you.
We'll
Now.
see you
Love you,
again
baby.
sometime soon, I hope.
Thank
Definitely.
you.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Indeed, indeed.
Bye.
Man, whew, Doc, that's something
Oh,
else.
Lord.
That right
I'm
there.
telling you, it's just nobody like it.
Nobody.
Like it.
Nobody like that. Was that we have to call that the special funk edition. We're gonna call
Especially
that
funk
the funk
edition.
edition of the Tightrope. Dear Tightrope family, we are joining Patreon. We're partnering with Patreon because they are empowering creators to maintain independence, thereby allowing us to offer you access to weekly exclusive content. By joining, you will gain access to special opportunities to engage with us as we share what we're reading, offer behind-the-scenes clips from our episodes, and ask you for your input around what we should focus on next. We want to express our sincere gratitude for consideration in joining us on the Tightrope and becoming part of our Patreon community. Thank you for helping us to maintain our creative freedom on this righteous journey as we produce and distribute content of high integrity. Together, we can amplify truth, cultivate hope, and work to create a just world. Thank you and stay strong.
My blessed Tightrope family, we are delighted to work with our brothers and sisters at Patreon in order to preserve our independence of mind, to preserve our free spirits, and most importantly, to preserve our quest for truth and for beauty and for goodness. Please be with us on this journey.